So thank you so much for joining me, both Dr. Reba and Mauricio, our interpreter this evening. I am so excited. This is our first parent ed event of the 21-22 school year, and it seems absolutely appropriate that Dr. Reba, you should be our first guest. You are a hallmark feature in the district to our community and across our schools. You are a celebrated pediatrician and I think jack of all trades. You are doing so many amazing things and have a lot of great initiatives working with us on our wellness centers and to support our students with nutrition, as well as in our community, and a celebrated graduate of our school district. So always a pleasure. And tonight you will be talking about Halloween doesn't have to haunt your house, brewing healthy habits this Halloween. So without further ado, I'm going to hand it over to you and let you get it started.
All right. Well, thank you so much for letting me be a part of this program. And we're hoping that we can kind of inspire families to, look past the candy a little bit and really find ways of using Halloween to inspire you to be more healthy. So like Kristen said, my name is Dr. Patricia Ronald Reba. I go by Dr. Patricia. I run Dr. Reba's Health Club, and we help kids become healthier weight and help them with their nutrition. And we do one-on-one and group visits. I'm also the founder of Serving Kids Hope, which is a nonprofit that helps make sure that kids get access to care and school programs. And I'm the creator of this new program that we're going to show at the end called Dr. Patricia's Health Club, Being Healthy from A to Z. And we have a website that we're going to share with you, and author of Fit Kids Revolution, which is a tip for parents on how to help their kids to grow up and be healthy. It's been really hard after the pandemic. And we really want to just kind of revisit some of these concepts about having a good relationship with food. And like I said, using any kind of inspiration. When we have our preschool classes, we're using letters of the alphabet, but I love to use the holidays and the seasons to inspire being healthy. So hopefully after we're done with this, your family will be able to do that too. So let's go to the next slide. And the first thing I just want to say, because everybody talks about weight, and kids and parents and everybody's talking about weight. And when you focus on how much you weigh, whether you weigh too much or too little, that actually kind of comes from a place of not liking yourself, what we call self-loathing. And so my goal for you all is to really just focus on being healthy. So think about it. Like, I'm going to eat a salad so I'll lose weight. Think about how that sounds versus I'm going to eat a salad because it's good for me, right? That comes from a place of self-love, and that helps give you a good relationship with food and your body, because our bodies all come in different sizes and shapes. And feeling comfortable with ourselves is really important. But all of us, no matter what our size is, we can all just work on little healthy habits to become the best version of ourselves. And that's really what we should thrive for, not what the scale says, because the scale doesn't show the whole picture. And like I said, if you're stressed out about what the scale says, then for sure that's not a good thing. All right, so let's go to the next slide. So in every relationship, kids and parents have a role, okay? Now, the role in feeding is that parents, hold on one second. Little dog issue, I think I got it under control. Parents are in charge in the feeding relationship of deciding what's being served, when food is being served. They got a couple extra jobs. They also are in charge of making meal times pleasant. So don't pick a fight with your husband or your wife, or talk about bad grades, talk about vacations, talk about great things that your kids are doing, reasons that you love them. Wow, I like the way you helped your sister with their chair. Wow, I like the way you had good manners at the big. Making kids feel loved at the table is probably even more important than what they eat at the table. And the last thing parents are responsible for is turning off screens. They've done a lot of studies, and they found that when people are watching a screen while they eat, at least 2 times a week or more, their weight will go up because they're not listening to their body. They're not stopping when they're full. They're distracted by the screen. And especially right now, people are feeling stressed, and they're using screens and food to cope. And when you do, then food isn't really, and screens aren't really what they're intended for. They become something to help you emotionally. And so it's not a healthy way of dealing with emotions. So as we go through some suggestions as we get later in the presentation, I'm going to teach you some healthy ways of dealing with stress. But the big thing is when you eat, to make sure to turn off those screens. Okay. Now, kids, you also have a role. Okay. And this is important because a lot of parents try to do the kids' jobs and kids try to do the parents' jobs. So parents, don't forget, you're in charge of what's being served. So having fruits and vegetables and drinking lots of water and healthy foods, that's what we want. Okay. If you don't ask the kids what they want, because they're going to say chicken fingers and they're going to say fries and mac and cheese and all these things. Now you can make those healthy, and I have some of those suggestions on my website. But for the most part, we kind of all like the junk food. And if anyone asks, that's what they're going to want. In fact, if my refrigerator had apples and carrots and celery and cake, I probably want to eat the cake. And I do this for a living. It's just really hard to not have the cake when you're like, I'll have, celery sounds so much better than cake. It really doesn't. So those foods are really good and they're really addicting. And so, for a birthday or for a party, have a piece of cake, enjoy it, put it on a pretty plate. Don't feel bad about it. But on our everydays, we really want parents to serve a variety of just natural, healthy foods that were here when the dinosaurs were here. So after we put all that food out there, and we make our kids feel loved and we turn off the screens, the kids, that's now their job starts. They're going to decide if they're going to eat what you served and how much. So when you say, oh, try it, take a bite, take a bite, take a bite, actually kids that are coaxed to eat a certain food are actually less likely to pick that food the next time it's offered. So it's much better to just serve the food. And then I always sing the Frozen song in my head and I let it go. So I focus on just making everyone feel loved. I put the food out there. It's a variety of natural, healthy food. And now all I have to do is make my family feel loved. And so it's kind of cool because that's actually my favorite thing to do, is make my family feel loved. And so parents, don't worry about portions of kids. Of how much they eat. They're growing. Sometimes they're going to eat a lot because they're growing or exercising. And sometimes they're going to barely eat anything. They're going to throw up in an hour. And so you want them to be able to start listening to their body and eating what they need. But if you're like, have more of this, don't have so much of that, and you're micromanaging those portions, you're not letting them learn that on their own. And that's what we can get problems with. Now, if you're serving natural, healthy foods, your kid's going to eat what they need. If I've done this for 20 years, and nobody's ever come into my office, oh, Dr. Patricia, I have a stomach ache, too many apples, too many carrots, too many Brussels sprouts. You don't overeat natural foods as long as the screens are off. So just being present, sitting at the meal, enjoying it, having that food out there, that's the best way to be healthy. And during times like Halloween, you can have fun. Go in the fruits and vegetables section, look for some fruits and vegetables that maybe look like the colors of the season. Look for the purple potatoes or the, squash or carrots or raisins, or there's different things that are different natural foods that actually have the colors of the season and might make it more fun and festive. And we have some recipes at the end that we'd love to share with you. Let's go to the next slide. So, and why do I care about family meals? Family meals are more protective for kids than tutors, sports, church groups, music lessons, all these things. We're driving all over trying to get our kids to go to all these events. But at the end of the day, if you look at the studies, they show that actually kids that eat as a family are less likely to be involved with drinking, drugs, alcohol, high-risk behavior. They're more likely to be a healthy weight. They're less likely to be depressed. It's really protective for kids and families to sit together. And we know it's not always practical. Sometimes somebody has to work nights or whatever, but whoever's there, bring them out. Kids shouldn't be sitting alone in their room or in front of the TV or in front of a screen eating. Take a few minutes, sit down as a family, and then like I said, you put the natural healthy food out there and just make your family feel loved for who they are and not what they eat. You'd be surprised if meal times are fun, then as your kids get older, they're going to enjoy meal times with you. And so if they don't need to be fun because you're serving ice cream, they can be fun just because, gosh, I always just feel good at meal times. They're not going to quite understand it, but they're going to know that they like it. And so if it's drama and you're fighting with them and eat more of this and have less of that, and why don't you ever take me on vacation? You're fighting and it's drama. Well, guess what? As your kids are getting older and more independent, they're going to be like, bye, I'm eating at Jimmy's house, because you want to be Jimmy's mom. You want them to come to your house. And if you can do that, that's our goal, is really to be that house where people feel loved at the table. It's not just the food, it's being nurtured at the table. And so everybody gets so focused on the food that it turns into World War III. And so serve the food, let it go, just work on making them feel loved. That's all you can control. If you could control how much they'd eat, we'd have a different conversation, but you can't. All you can control is what you served and how you make the people at your table feel. And so if you can focus on that, that'll be awesome. Let's look at the next one. So we've put together a little program called Being Healthy from A to Z. And you guys, you can play with this make versions of it on your own. We have a website. I'll show you all the things that we have. But basically, I've got these birds and they help me teach kids how to become more healthy. But like I said, even if you don't even watch the program or want to deal with it, you can have fun with your kids and be like, okay, let's look for some fruits this week that start with the letter C. Just pull a letter out of your hat and see what they come up with. Let me tell you, D is a tough one. You're stuck with like dill pickles and dragon fruit. It's really tough. But for the most part, it's just anything that'll just inspire your kids to kind of get involved with fruits and vegetables. And they might not eat it. They might draw a picture of the vegetable when you bring it home. But those steps and having those connections and relationships with vegetables over time, and especially if they're not pressured to eat them, will make it so they'll want to eat those foods later on. Let's look at the next slide. All right, so this is our program, and it's free to everybody. It's a website called DRPHC, Dr. Reba's Health Club, basically. Dr. Patricia's Health Club. See, I'm not even saying it right. DRPHC.org. And so it's myself, and I've got about 10 birds, and they all help me teach the kids how to be more healthy. You can see the pelican Agua next to me doing the letter A. Of course, he likes A because his name is Agua and his favorite thing to do is drink water. And so this is kind of a trend with the birds. Each bird has kind of like one thing, maybe two things that they help inspire the kids to be healthy. And if you look down below, you can look at Warner, who's my crow. Well, he's in charge of safety. And then, Brock, my green parrot at the top left, he gets superpowers from vegetables. So I've got kind of a slide for each one, but what we do is we take all these different concepts that we know protect kids. It protects kids to help them to have a good relationship with food, to be happy. It decreases depression. There's all of these studies that we're looking at that will protect kids. Even kids that have been through trauma will be protected if we can help teach them to have about good nutrition, exercise, spending time in nature, getting enough sleep, reading, social emotional skills, and accessing mental health, and understanding about trusted adults and safety. So we're trying to cover all these things. And the reason we came up with this program is because of the pandemic. We have this obesity epidemic happening and this pandemic happening. These kids are stressed and they're eating food and they're looking at screens like to make themselves feel better, and it's making them less healthy. And so this program is to really help them heal from the pandemic. It'll help them with their academics because we do cover some literacy for our early learners. It's going to help teach them skills for their whole life. So they're going to know types of foods to eat. They're going to be inspired to read. They're going to be inspired to go to bed on time. They're going to be inspired to cook, to do sports. You'll meet all the birds. You'll learn all the things, even mindfulness our pelican does, or a flamingo does. All right, let's look at the next one. You'll know more. Oh, I don't know why that ended up there, but that's not good. Is there any way that you can delete the witch? She's covering up my slide. She's cute, don't get me wrong, but she's I don't know how she got there. She must have slipped off there. But I know that slide had to do with Agua.
Yeah,
So
you know what, I'll skip through that slide right now, and then I can maybe change it on the slide deck and then put it back up there.
Okay, perfect. Sorry about
Thank
that.
you. She's very witchy and cute.
She's adorable. Like I was like, I totally stole that picture from the internet, though. I don't own that picture. I don't think, I hope it was on Free Pics, but I'm not sure. So we just want to make sure.
Let me get in there and if you want to just talk for a minute while I fix it.
Yeah, so Agua is the first bird that we covered. And like I said, he's an English learner. His parents are from Oaxaca, and he loves everything to do with water. So he loves to drink water, and he loves to do sports around water. So he loves fishing, and he loves surfing, and he loves swimming. And so he inspires the kids to drink more water. And I always joke with the kids, but I'm going to do it with you today. Okay. So if the kids are on, or families are on, I think this is hilarious. But basically, we want people to drink water throughout the day. And people always, how many ounces should I have and all this stuff? I'm like, I don't know. Like, I want you to listen to your body. It's a great computer. It knows how to regulate. But you can do what us doctors do, and you can look at your pee. Okay, so if you pee, and this is gross, but kids like talking about gross things, and so do doctors. So if you look at your pee and it looks yellow, like this Post-it note, you're not drinking enough water. So if it's almost clear, then you're drinking enough. So I tell kids, I'm like, I don't want moms and dads chasing kids around like, have you had your water? Have you had your? No, that's crazy town, and that's controlling, and it's not going to work. I tell the kids, I'm like, look at your pee. If it's yellow, go get a glass of water. Okay. Another thing, the reason you want to drink more water is it helps with your mood. A lot of times, if you're frustrated or mad, it could be because you're actually thirsty. And so we really encourage kids, if they're having a bad day or they're feeling down, one of the things that they can do to make themselves feel better is to drink more water. Now, so on a day like Halloween, let's face it, the candy is what you're going to want to have. So it's not a time to have soda, sports drinks, or even 100% fruit juice. Those things are all full of sugar, okay? And sugar is, even sugar is what can lead towards diabetes. Kids that drink a lot of sugary drinks, they don't tend to like vegetables because it makes them have kind of a sweet tooth. So getting kids to drink more water and having them watch their pee is actually a really healthy habit that you guys could pick up. If you learn one thing from this, that would go a long way to making your family more healthy. Also, just as a note, when I talk about sugary things, ketchup is high in sugar. So people always put ketchup on their food to try to get kids to eat it. So I'm like, don't put ketchup on it, because you're basically just pouring sugar on their food. And if they want it, they'll eat it. If they don't, they won't. But putting something unhealthy on top of it is not the best strategy. So putting a bunch of healthy food out there, and like I said, letting it go. We use salsa and spaghetti sauce instead of ketchup a lot, and it goes a long way. All right, let's go to the next one. So as far as technology is concerned, oh my goodness, we are on screens still so much. And so I think it's really important to understand that there are a lot of bad things that can happen from screen time. And I know our kids had to go to school that way. My daughter had to go to school that way. They had to communicate with their friends that way. We're coming through a horrible trauma of the pandemic. And but now is the time to kind of start getting the pendulum swung the other way, and realizing that really kids should not be on, and this is like your kids 5 and up should not be on more than 2 hours a day of screens. And that includes TV, tablet, phone, gaming devices. And what we find in some of our studies, like for 2019 studies, even before the pandemic, teenagers were on it for like 9 or more hours. And that was not for phone calls. And that was not for doing homework. And so we really want to look at screen time. So the big thing that I would start with is making sure the screens are off during meals and snacks. So don't eat in front of the TV, don't eat in front of your Zoom calls as best you can. Trying to sit down for family meals, that's huge. But so if you do have too much screen time, number one, your weight will probably go up. Number two, they find that people that watch screens all the time, they drink more sugary drinks. Well, I think it's because they're watching more commercials, or seeing more advertisements for it. Children, they tend to be more language delayed. So if your child is already facing developmental issues, being on screens more, I know it'll keep them quiet at certain times, and it's a babysitter sometimes, and sometimes we have to have it. Like I see these poor women and these mothers, and they've got kids that are really have major behavioral issues, and yeah, they might need to give, when they go out to dinner, maybe give them an iPad. But for, if we can, to try to use other ways, trying to get them off screens, that's going to be ideal. Because that will make their language development even slower. It also affects their communication skills. It increases aggressive behavior, increases cigarette smoking, and headaches, neck aches, back aches, and significant sleep issues, which we'll talk about on the next slide. So there's a lot of down things. We had to use it, but now we kind of need to, like I said, swing back. So if we go to the next slide, I'll try to give you some strategies. So the other side of the screens is that it affects your sleep. Okay, see my little blue stripe down the middle of this slide? I have that in there because to remind us that those blue lights from the screens, what they can do is they're the brightest lights. And our bodies are developed very simply. We're like daytime blue skies, nighttime dark skies. So what happens if it's dark outside, but we're looking at a blue screen? Guess what? Our brains are going to think it's daytime when it's not. And so, and with kids indoors so much, it's hard to even know when it's day and when it's night. And then they're on screens at night. So my recommendation is to try to get kids off screens like an hour and a half before bedtime. So you can set your, an alarm and just be like, it goes off, and like everybody follows suit, like moms, dads, everyone tries to get off the screens and try, take showers and baths, get ready for bed, clean teeth, journal, play a board game, play cards, draw a picture of your day. You can start integrating some things that are off of screens that are actually really good for your kids' brains. Reading from books, not screens, is amazing. It's interesting with this blue light because I have a friend that's on our board, Damian Square, and he's a football player, professional football player. He was on the Chargers, now he's on the Saints right now. But anyways, he said that the NFL players, they all get blue blocker glasses because they know they can't stop the NFL players from wearing from watching screens, but they want to block the blue light because they want them to have good sports performance. So it's interesting that even athletes they're looking into the effects of this blue light. I don't know. It makes sense to me that to get off of screens and kind of relax your mind is an important thing. I feel like we were all created to experience life through all 5 senses: to hear, smell, taste, touch, and what did I miss? See. Oh, I always forget one. I wish I'd say them in the same order every time. So if the world, we either feel safe or we don't feel safe. If we can experience life through all 5 senses, we feel safe. When you're on a screen, you can only hear and see. So you're only using 2. So somewhere in your brain, this is Alice in Wonderland, being on the screen doesn't quite feel right. And so regardless of the blue light, I think it's a stress on your brain to be on the screens for excessive amounts of times. And I think that's where we get a lot of these issues with kids with behavioral issues and language issues and communication issues, because I think it's stressful on the brain to be on screens a lot. So especially before bed, that's a great time to just shut it down. They need it for their homework. They need it for all these things right now. We need it for this meeting, but so we're going to use it. We can't, technology's here to stay, but finding times during meal times and finding before bedtime to kind of quiet the brain and start doing something more mindful, getting off of screens, I think would be an amazing habit that we could incorporate into everyone's family. It'd make everybody more healthy. All right, so let's go to the next one. So mindfulness is what I was talking about. It's basically using all 5 of your senses. It's unplugging. And my flamingo here, Z, as she's got a book underneath her wing. She likes to read from books. She likes to do yoga. These are all mindful things. So, you know, carving a pumpkin, it would be a great mindful activity. Going to a farm and going and checking out pumpkins, apple picking, just walking in nature, raking leaves, doing kinds of activities outside in nature that are mindful, meaning we don't have our screens on. You know, I see women in my neighborhood all the time and they're on their phones and they're in their Lululemons and they're walking along. That's not being mindful. You're getting exercise. You're out in nature, but you're not really out in nature. I need you when you're out in nature to actually hear the birds, feel the wind on your face. Look at your neighbors, look at the flowers around you, smell the flowers around you, really experience where you're at. And when we can focus and just be where we're at and be present, it helps our minds and it really helps our children's developing minds. So sitting down together and talking, gardening, going for a walk, those are great things that will help everybody sleep and everybody relax their minds. All right, let's look at the next one. So, so here I already cut the chase. So I talked about some of these things. Like I said, even like you don't have to rake the leaves. You can even just, you know, it's funny when my daughter was younger. Yeah, I used to be like, you know, we have a dog. Let's go take the dog for a walk. Well, after a while, she's like, I don't want to go take the dog for a walk. And so I had to like be creative. So I would like get a basket. I'd be like, let's go look for bunnies in the park, or let's go look for treasures. And, you know, and the treasures would be leaves or rocks, or we go to the beach and find shells. But there's always, you know, you always kind of add a little gimmick to keep the kids engaged. So right now the leaves are really cool. You know, obviously the evergreens and the palms aren't doing anything for you, but there's many leaves that do change even in California. And it's fun for the kids to look at different leaves and the shapes and the sizes and the colors, really gets them connected with nature. And so if they go on a walk and they're all of a sudden looking at leaves, they're present, they're not on their screens, they're present, they're interacting with nature, and that's what we want. Like I said before, visiting pumpkin patches, making pumpkin seeds, listening, you know, if it's bad weather and you have to stay inside, listening to Halloween music, dancing, going apple picking, which I know we found a picture of people apple picking, but even when I lived in Massachusetts, we would go apple picking and I never got to pick them. But it's always fun to go to the farms and pick out the apples. And apples are a great thing with kids because I think kids are like, apples are apples, you know, and so like to be like, they all have different names, they all have different tastes, and like everyone pick a different colored apple or a different apple that they like. You know, they can pick a Macintosh or a Fuji or an Envy or a Green Pippin. They're Golden Delicious. There's so many different ones, and then they can compare and contrast and talk about it and just and really start looking at food differently instead of, oh, I have to eat an apple. It's like, oh, this is a Macintosh. So it can really inspire kids to be more healthy. Personally, I like the Honey Crisps, just so you know. All right, let's look at the next one. So, and then listening to your kids' Halloween ideas. So this is a great time, or before Halloween is started, like talking as a family, what do you know, you don't have to just have a costume for the day of Halloween. You could decide to take pictures every day for Halloween. You could have a Halloween party. You could, like I said, go to pumpkin patches. What do the kids want to do? Is there an art project? Do you guys want to draw pumpkins? Do you want to paint on pumpkins? Do you, find different squash and tell a story about them, make them into puppets or something. So talk to the kids and say, what are some fun ways you want to celebrate Halloween? And you'd be surprised. I mean, like I said, everyone thinks, oh God, it's all about the candy, but that's such a small part. There's fun things about scaring people. There's fun things about ghoulish things. I've got skeletons on the outside of my house. I've had them for weeks. I love this holiday. We make ribs at my house. I just love all the different fun, scary things. I like all the different vegetables that are in season, the apples and the pears and the pomegranates and the persimmons. This is a great time to just let your kids, maybe even say, go find some Halloween vegetables or fruits and see what they come up with. So getting them involved, I think, is a really good idea. Okay, let's look at our next one. And then using it for inspiration also, just to get moving. So we've got like, on the day of Halloween, trying to get a little bit more exercise in. You don't have to maybe drive to the closest place, maybe drive a little farther away, add a couple extra loops, add some more walking, because we're going to have more sugar on board. You can play charades, you can play different games, and trying to find ways of being active. I think people think that like to be active, you have to do exercise for 60 minutes, like boom, but actually you can break it up. So you could do like 10 minutes here, 15 minutes there, 30 minutes, you can break it up. So we want at least 60 minutes of moving a day, but that doesn't mean it has to be all in a row. So if we can just like, oh, let's go for a walk and just, after dinner, because we didn't get a lot, we went to the park only for like a half hour, maybe just go see if there's any Halloween decorations in your area, or pick something fun to do that will inspire your kids to move more. And it could just be football. I mean, football's out right now, it's fun, you can get the whole family together, but any sports, any activities, just getting your family to move, whether it's dancing, playing head, shoulders, knees, and toes, which I do with your kindergartners oftentimes, which they love. Just that over time, like I said, just getting that 60 minutes is all you really need to do. Let's look at the next one. Now, there are some natural foods. I've got O, who's our ranger at Cucamonga, and he's our emu, and he's all about food from nature. And then Brock, of course, is into vegetables, and Barry over here, the blue parrot, he is into fruits. So like I said, it's interesting because they've done little studies on what are good foods for good moods and what are bad foods for bad moods. Well, candy and sugary drinks, bad mood side. So there's a reason Newport-Mesa, and they will never admit this to me, but we can do this on our own. They never see those kids the day after Halloween. You ever notice there's always a teacher or whatever, because they know how crazy town our kids are the day after Halloween. All right. And so they're up late, they have all this sugar, they're a mess the next day. And so and Halloween, like I said, I love Halloween. I think it's a great holiday, but feeding your kids throughout the day some natural foods, you don't need to make Halloween cookies, because trust me, the candy is the sugar for the day. You can take the colors and you can make vegetable dishes, you can make fruit dishes. We've got this one we did with my Fit Scout troop with pineapple and oranges, and then we just put plain yogurt at the bottom. And we actually sweeten it in the middle of the plain yogurt. There's some unsweetened applesauce, and you stir it up and it tastes sweet, but it's kind of a fun yogurt treat. But yes, there will be sugary foods on that day, and don't fight it. But at least not have your kids have it on an empty stomach. I think that's ideal. So if you're feed them a good healthy breakfast, because there's going to be candy at school, feed them a good healthy lunch, feed them a good healthy dinner, and then if they have some candy, they have some candy. And we just kind of have to let it go, because you don't want your kid to be like, oh, everyone else can have candy and I can't. That's when it gets to be a problem. Now you can make a deal, and I would talk about it ahead of time, like, should we eat all the candy before they get it? Okay, don't after they get it be like, okay, you get 3 and then I'm taking this away. No, talk about it beforehand, like, it's just a lot of candy. So maybe we go trick-or-treating, maybe we go get some candy. then let's just pick our favorite ones because they're not even all that good. And maybe, maybe you have whatever you want the day of Halloween, and then pick like 5 or 10 pieces that you're going to have whenever you want for the next rest of the week. They could have them all the next day. They could have them 1 or 2 a day. I don't care. Drives me crazy. The worst thing you could do is take that whole lot of Halloween candy and just give them 2 a day. Oh my gosh, that's much less healthy than having a bad day here and there and like not having it anymore. So, and then they could just get used to it and so forth. And then boom, we get into Christmas and we got another set of candy to deal with. So I'd rather just like embrace the day, have it, and then get a little extra exercise, eat natural food whenever you can that day, make sure they're not starving. And then just, like I said, decide ahead of time, let them take like 10 or whatever, eat it however they want, and then maybe trade it in. They can get like a stuffed animal for it, or baseball cards, or a ball, or something fun, a new book that they want, and they can trade it in for that. So it's still kind of fun for them. But it's not so off the charts. Let's try the next one. So, and then the other side of this is what gets us on Halloween is not only are our kids going out to get candy, but we're supposed to be giving it out. Okay. And who's going to show up? There are some households, they get like, I mean, go to Balboa Island and oh my gosh, they're out hundreds of candies like in a few hours. Like it's crazy. Everyone's going, they're getting handed out. And then there's some neighborhoods and like nobody comes. So so my thing is I always have some, but I also have other things that I know are, if we have leftovers, it's not going to be like we have all this leftover candy. So you can get like little Play-Dohs. I know they sell those at Costco, or glow sticks that you can use at other holiday or nighttime events that can be fun. You can get little toys that you can hand out. Xylitol gum, Trident gum has got this sugar-free gum that's actually really good for your teeth. So you could have some alternatives like that you can give out too. So it's not, because if not, you get this big old thing of candy and then nobody shows, then you're all gonna have this big old thing of candy. And so it's a little harder to get rid of. So if we have like kind of a mixture, that tends to make it a little bit more balanced. And then you're not, I remember once when I was in school in Boston, we didn't think we were going to have any trick-or-treaters, and we did. And my roommate went and she grabbed cough drops and she put it in the bags because we didn't have any candy. But for the most part, that'll help you be prepared. So looks like my Play-Doh, my G got it cut off. Let's look at the next one. So, and then I just wanted to just share, just a couple recipes here. We'll have these on the website. I'm not going to walk you through it, but like I said, pick anything orange and green, purple. There's, purple cabbage you can use on these recipes. Black olives you can use for eyes. Be creative. Let your kids help. Say, I need some vegetables to make some pumpkins, and see what they come up with, and then they might be more likely to try it. The carrots that we did, we have like a little hummus recipe with it, but just you don't have to follow any particular recipe. It's just some ideas to inspire you and your kids to make something fun and healthy for Halloween. I like this veggie jack-o'-lantern. All right, let's go to the next one. And the fruit, like I said, the candy corn fruit is what we do with our Fit Scouts. So that's not whipped cream. That's actually plain yogurt. And I like to put the plain yogurt at the bottom because I like to put a little bit of applesauce, unsweetened applesauce. Now, flavored yogurts like vanilla yogurt, oh my gosh, there's like 5 teaspoons of sugar in one of those little yogurts, or 6 sometimes. It depends what flavor. So it's better to get the plain and then sweeten it with the applesauce, unsweetened applesauce. Put that in there, and then you put your like I said, you put your oranges in there, you put your pineapple in there. It looks like a candy corn. It's fun, it's festive. You can do it all week, but it's gonna be healthy, and you can have it all. You give that to them for breakfast. They're like, oh my gosh, this is such a fun treat. But it's actually pretty easy to make. You can even use canned mandarins and canned pineapple. Make it easy on yourself. Just rinse them off before you serve them. And it's kind of a fun special breakfast or a treat. You could put a few nuts on there, like walnuts, and that would give you 3 food groups for breakfast. You'd have the nuts, which are protein, the fruits, which is the pineapple and the mandarins, and then the plain yogurt. And that's what we really want to do for breakfast. It's like just a piece of toast isn't enough, or pan dulce. I really want to have 3 food groups that are natural foods for breakfast. All right, we'll go look at the next one. And this is my all-time favorite. I just think pumpkin soup is my favorite thing on the planet. So it's talk about comfort food. My mom used to always make pumpkin soup around Halloween and around Thanksgiving. And you can make squash soups. You can try different squashes, different pumpkins. But I wanted to give you a recipe because it's just something cozy that you can make that kids like. It's a great gateway, like, you know, to get them into new vegetables, like just, you know, making it in a soup. They can help prepare it. They can help cut it. We even have this one squash recipe with like a green apple in it, which is kind of fun, but just keep it simple. Making pumpkin soup or squash soups, you can substitute this for any kind of squash is fine. I just think it's like it's cozy, it's warm, the weather's changed, and it's so healthy for you. But it's also fun because it's Halloween time. So let's go to the next one. Okay, so now I'm gonna have a little fun with you. I wanted to share with you what we've been doing with a lot of your preschool and kindergarten classes. So this is one of the Newport-Mesa classes. I think this was over the summer. And we've been doing this program called Being Healthy from A to Z. And like I said before in the intro, we use the letters of the alphabet to inspire your kids to be more healthy. Now, if we're not doing it at your school, you just have to have your principals or teachers contact my team, and we would be happy to set that up. We are in a bunch of schools right now in Newport-Mesa, and Newport-Mesa has kind of been getting the special treatment because I was a Newport-Mesa person. I got a kid there, so we're very connected with you all. Basically, we come in through Zoom. That's me in this room, and the screen in the top right corner, and we teach the kids how to be more healthy. You see their hands up. That's because we're using the song from actually one of my friends from CDM, from Del Mar High School, Stan Frazier. He was in Sugar Ray, and he has some awesome music that he's made for us, and we've been able to use. So we have these original songs that we've been playing for the kids and dancing with the kids on these little breaks, and how we're going to use the letters of the alphabet to be more healthy. So this is the kids dancing with me. They dance every time they get the dance in, and then we do some other activities too. I'll show you the next slide so you can get a kind of an idea of what we've been doing. So we also have a website where you can access, or you can have your, or teachers are accessing it. And on these websites, if you go to this drphc.org website on the top left corner, you can go to recipes, and the recipes are A to Z. So if your kid picks out radishes or beets or something, you're like, oh, I need a recipe for that. You can look, and they're all in alphabetical order. So look under R, look under B, and you'll find them. If you don't find it, then send us in a question, and my dietitians will find one for you. We have tips for parents on helping them like get the kids to drink more water and eat more fruits and vegetables, a lot of the things that we covered today, but there's more on the psychology of feeding kids. And that's all free. Down below this section of the website are actual books A through Z, and we have them for all kindergarten standards, but they're a little advanced for kindergarten. So if you have kids like 3 to 7 and also special needs kids, they may really enjoy these workbooks that you can print out. And they go through and they learn from the different birds all the ways they can use the letter of the day to be more healthy. And then they can draw a picture on how they're going to use the letter of the day to be more healthy. And if they turn it in, they can be eligible to win prizes. Like right now, we're giving out Build-A-Bears. So that might be something fun to do for Halloween. You could go into H book.
Yeah. Dr. Reba, do you want me to click on and show the site so you can?
That would be great if you could.
Let's see if it works. There you go.
Yeah, scroll down. If you scroll down, see those are the books. And then, oh yeah, join our mailing list. That's another thing. Oh, there's the Halloween.
there it
book. So
is.
there's some Halloween shifts that it literally got created, I think, finished getting posted while we were there. And you can go through. So if you click on the top right of the pages, it'll actually turn the pages. So the kids, we really want you to print them out virtually. I mean, you can see it all virtually and learn from it, but they can also print it out and play and use these as little workbooks. And like I said, these are all great. Our kids are trying to, especially our early learners, are trying to catch up. So we have different ways that they can learn the content they're supposed to learn in school, but in a fun way to help them to be more healthy. So yeah, so they can draw their own land. There's all different things in here. There's also, for our preschool books, we also are having Spanish translation. So we have sight words in there and different things for school that are still in English, but parents can use that and they can read along with it. So yeah, so we've got all the different birds teaching you, like that one's going to draw some sparkling water and all kinds of things. So good.
So
I'm glad. So our recipes are in there, helping to find the spider. So those are just some resources. They're free for Newport-Mesa, and we just want to make sure you have access to them.
Thank you.
And your teachers also have access. And then we've done some PSAs on PBS SoCal, which is kind of fun. So we've been doing, like, we have A, B, and C out there. So if you've seen us on PBS, that's part of the same thing that you're getting at Newport-Mesa. And if we go to the next one, I wanted to show you our latest thing, which we're working on. It's called Cucamongaluca, because I don't know if you remember, but that's where the birds live. And we're actually trying to put together some short and long segments for TV or YouTube or whoever wants them, and to teach kids how to become more healthy. And so I thought, as like a treat, after talking about all the tricks in Halloween, that I just show you this latest video. Now, this video is not professional yet. This isn't even the cut we're going to use. We just filmed this on Saturday. So this was just a quick and dirty, but you'll get an idea. And the puppeteers that we used, oh my gosh, the peacock, his name is Victor. He's the #1 puppeteer in the world. And we've got people from PBS and people that have worked at Disney who've been working on this program with us to help kids heal from the pandemic. So you get a little piece of it. We'll share it with you today as a treat.
Hi everyone, I'm Dr. Patricia and these are my friends.
Hi!
Hi! We were just talking about healthy habits.
Mm-hmm. And I learned that a healthy habit is something you do every day to feel good inside. Right, Doc?
That's right. Can you name some healthy habits?
Oh, I know! Eating yummy, nutritious foods like fruits and vegetables.
Absolutely. Fruits and vegetables are amazing fuel for your body.
Oh, well, how about exercising? I've been working on my deltoids and my lats.
Yes, being active every day is a great way to be healthy.
Oh, I have a question. What if you're having a sad day?
Yeah, like you're so sad that you don't want to do anything at all.
Oh, no. We all feel sad or mad or frustrated sometimes, and those feelings are all okay. The key is to find healthy ways of expressing those feelings.
Oh, yeah, like maybe you could talk to somebody you love about how you feel.
That's right. Or you can draw a picture of how you're feeling.
Oh, drawing is so fun!
I love to draw.
Yeah.
You have the power inside to take good care of yourself.
You mean like a superpower?
Yes, like the best superpower ever.
Oh, hooray for healthy habits!
They give us superpowers!
Yes, the power to soar and to be the very best you can be.
Hip, hip, hooray!
So there'll definitely be more of that to come, the Cucamongaluca series, and we'll be putting those on our website as well. So please just use it if you know of a child, especially one they've been hit so hard by the pandemic. We really want to give back and really help augment the learning that they're getting in school to help them catch up from last year, or to get them ready to learn if they were the 3 to 7 special needs kids. 8-year-olds are even enjoying this. So, play it, you look through it and see if your kids might enjoy this, might learn from it, even if they're older, maybe just the recipes. But please use this. This is really just made to help kids heal from the pandemic. So, well, I hope you're not scared about having a healthy Halloween anymore. I hope that we've inspired you to get some ideas on just a few healthy habits you could pick up this holiday season, whether it's drinking more water or just going and trying some orange and purple or black or whatever fruits and vegetables.
And Dr. Riva, I took a lot of notes during your presentation, and I have some really salient takeaways. There were a few things you said that after, reading and parenting for decades now, and really priding myself on being like, having all the information, I want to go back in time, because you said some things that I thought, oh, I wish I had thought of that or when they were younger. I love that you said eat the food that was here when the dinosaurs were here. Like just keeping it that simple and having that kind of conversation with your kids. And the other point about you don't overeat natural foods as long as your screens are off. It was like, oh, you were talking just to me, weren't you?
Yes,
You got me. Oh, you got me.
No, even, and you and I were talking before, like driving, like even in the car, like I had to learn some of these things on my own, because I used to not give myself enough time for my lunch hour. I'd be eating while I was driving to one of the schools, and I'm like, oh, this is not healthy. I don't even know how much I just ate. I didn't even realize I ate. So we all just need to pause and take a few minutes to eat, and it'll go a long way.
And that just being present too. You talked too about, about the mindfulness, but creating experience of life through all 5 senses for the purposes of feeling safe. And that when we're just engaging in those 2 of the 5 senses, like we're missing something that we'll be seeking.
Yeah, and that's where it drives me a little nuts when people are like, oh, here's an app for mindfulness. And I'm like, oh, like, look at a leaf. Go to the beach. Like, I just really want to inspire. I think those, the
grounding.
I saw a sunset on an app, and I'm like, gosh, I wish you could just see a sunset, a regular sunset, or draw a picture of what you think a sunset looks like. That would make it mindful. So.
And then you also, one of the things you said was that there's really fun things about scaring people. And that made me like you even more. And then the idea too, this is embarrassing. I never even thought about like buying a little bit of candy and then something else that maybe I don't like, so that I'm not at home alone at 2 a.m. with like those leftover Snickers that I just threw into the freezer. And like, now I have no self-control, and then I'm full of self-loathing after I eat them. So just that idea of like the pre-planning of, be decadent and even to indulge, but like not to sprinkle it over days and weeks. I remember that with my parents, they would put the pumpkin up on the refrigerator, and you could have one piece of candy until it was gone. And to your point, then Thanksgiving's around the corner, and then Christmas, and then Valentine's Day, and then Easter. And then, it's just like this, it feels like it begins the beginning of the annual end there. Also the plain yogurt with applesauce. I've never even heard of that before, but that's perfect. It's perfect because it's like a little bit of sweetness, but also still you get the good yogurty bite there. And pumpkin soup, but you talked about a squash recipe with green apple.
Yes. The only ingredients in is it's butternut squash, onions, carrots, green apple, and chicken stock or vegetable stock, whatever you like. That's it. Like, there's only 5 ingredients. We had this Christy Ferrens. She's like, she went to Newport-Mesa also. She used to work for me, and she, I think she's got kids at Newport-Mesa, but she is a great cook, and she came up with that recipe. And we used to do stone soup with the kids, and we would make. I'm like, don't make stone soup. You put all these vegetables, it tastes horrible. Like, they don't all go together. But you make squash soup with a green apple in it. It's amazing. So,
I love it. And then I also just had this kind of feeling toward the end of your presentation that I feel like our time with you is going to be so limited, because you're like right on the cusp of being discovered internationally and swept away from Newport-Mesa from your roots. So don't get any more awesome, okay? And we have quite a few people that were able to log on and join us. We didn't have any questions in the Q&A section for you, but it's 7 o'clock almost in just a few minutes. So And you've answered my questions, so that's really, again, all that matters. And I have the squash recipe, so I'm good to go. But, and also just in the one big takeaway too, I think always, you can never say it enough, it's just the more water, the better. Like, I mean, for me as a woman about to be 50 years old and seeing like my skin when I'm getting a little dehydrated and I'm not paying attention to it, it also is a great act of self-care to just take that minute and then have a little hydration. And we got a couple questions. Yes. Will this be available to share with more parents? Absolutely. It will be recorded and on our district website. You can go to the student services section of the website, and then there's a parent ed tab, and this will be downloaded and transcribed and then able to access for not just our parents, but also our teachers. And then one other question was, what do you suggest that kids eat when they won't eat what's served at dinner?
That they don't have to eat. You know, I wouldn't give them like, what I do is I say, put at least four things out there, 4 different food groups. So, you know, you're serving a fish you've never served before, they might not take it on their first try, right? But then put blueberries out, get your fruit out there, put some, you know, some green beans or some carrots or whatever out there. Have a glass of milk. So you're going to have like, you know, you'll have a few things out there, and that day they may just eat the blueberries, you know, but don't short order cook, because then all of a sudden they're having chicken fingers and fries all the time. So don't be like, oh, the kids need to have this. If you just put 4 different things out there, don't judge it. If they're hungry, they'll eat, they'll try it. And if they feel pressured, they're less likely to pick that food the next time it's offered. So just serve it, let it go. An hour or 2 later, maybe serve like some apples or bananas or, you know, and some nuts or something, some cheese, put a few healthy things out there. You don't give them fish the rest of the week. That's me. So
yeah, I feel like too, once you start the little tug of war too, it's no longer even about the nutrition. It's now about the power control and independence versus, you know, all of that. I see one more question. We usually opt for fruit if they don't eat the main meal, says Sarah Donovan chimed in. So giving them the option of fruit if they're not eating the main meal.
Yeah, and my main meals always have a fruit on the table. So it's not like, oh, you didn't want to eat this, so I'm going to give you that. It's like, it's all there, pick what you want. But, you know, I want to tell you this joke I heard. Just talk about your day, make it a loving conversation. And they're just going to want to be there. And then all of a sudden they'll be like, oh, maybe I'll try that fish or whatever, you know, and they don't feel the pressure. So and it takes time. I was a picky eater as a kid. So just be patient, but if you can use that good psychology, that's the best way to get your kids to eat healthier.
And I see too in our guests that joined us tonight, I just wanted to give a special shout out to our always amazingly supportive board members. Charlene Metoyer is here, as well as Carol Crane, who says, thank you, Dr. Reba, for your great creative suggestions to healthy eating habits. And Lisa Bowler, our Harbor Council PTA our president, who runs a show over there with the Harbor Council, who's helped to advertise with the Parent Ed series. So thank you, Dr. Reba, and thank you to all of our guests tonight. And thank you to you, Mauricio, for your interpretation. And I hope you learned some things. Did you learn something? Yeah.
A lot.
We can't hear you, but you learned some things. Yeah. No more Coca-Colas for you every day. All right.
You're cutting them off.
All right. Thank you.
Well, happy Halloween, everybody.
Thank you. Happy Halloween to you too. Thank you, Dr. Reba. I'll see you soon.
Bye-bye.